Okay, anyone who knows me knows I love a good Hallmark movie. Well, today I'm going to be reacting to one. It's not new for Hallmark, but it's new for me. I've never seen it. It's called Check In to Christmas. It came out in 2019. The two main stars are Rachel Boston and Wes Brown. And I'll read you the little synopsis. It says Jessica Crawley and Ryan Mason must unite their families during Crest Ridge's centennial Christmas celebration in order to save their family inns from a chain resort. That's like the little synopsis of what to expect in this movie. Anyone knows I typically watch these movies with like hot chocolate or whatever, but it's not fully that, well, I guess it is that time of the year now, but I don't have any at the moment. So instead everyone knows I love Dr. Pepper, so that's what I'm drinking while watching this. So grab a snack, grab something you would like to consume that's a drink, and watch Check Into Christmas with me. And also, it came out in 2019. I don't know if I said that. It's the year it came out. It's an hour and 24 minutes long. So let's get to watching. So it seems like what they're introducing so far is Rachel's character, Julia, is a lawyer who's supposed to get promoted, but will she? We'll, I guess, see what happens. If I'm honest, visually now seeing Mason's family's in versus the Crawley's family in, I would definitely stay at the Crawley inn versus the Mason inn. Just visually looking at it, it's so much more like appealing and way better decorated for Christmas too. I don't know, there's just something. I don't know how to explain it. It's very rustic in a way that I like, but modern at the same time. I like it a lot. I'll throw up pictures of both ends if I can remember to do that. I'll do that. And you can also definitely tell there's that camaraderie of like one end is better than the other. I assume it's based on like the dads of the main characters of like all not always liked each other, so that they've always competed to win things through their like separate ends for years. So you can definitely see that because when meeting Julia's dad, he's very like, so what did their place look like? Didn't look that great, did it? We're gonna win this year. Like he was very pushing in on like that we're gonna win, that kind of thing. And obviously they always push the main characters to move back home. That's always the story. They're either visiting home or are home and wanting to leave. Like it's always one or the other. It always seems like. So yeah, it's definitely that they're being told to move back home, or at least Julia is. I don't know about Ryan's character yet. They haven't really shown him yet, besides that one sequence, and that was it. Okay, so now they've introduced Ryan a little bit, and it seems like his dad is a little more like he doesn't want change, but it seems like the Julia's dad is more keen to change a little bit in the sense of like making things look modern and updating, but Ryan's dad seems very like he runs the inn just like his dad did, his dad before, and declined an offer from like a major resort that they are talking about. He declined their offer. His son's like, what are you talking about? Because you find out Ryan is the manager of the inn and he didn't even know anything about it. So there's that dynamic of like Ryan is telling his dad like they could swoop in here and put up their own resort and we would be in the dust like that. So he's very worried about that. But his dad's like, we've run it the same for generations and we're fine. We're not gonna go down without, at least trying. Because he's like, our books are fine, we've always been fine. And Ryan's like, okay, whatever. And he just kind of like wipes it off. So that's like where we are with Ryan and his dad. So, because his mom just walked in the room to say hi to him. I'm curious where this is going to go. If they're going to merge like brands, or if one of the ends is going to close or not. or if they're both just gonna make changes and stop hating each other, like they're gonna evolve somehow. Maybe, I don't know. Excuse me. We'll see. I'm curious how it's gonna go though. I'm already guessing who they're gonna put together as couples. They're gonna put obviously Ryan and Julia together, but I think they're gonna set up maybe um Julia's sister and Ryan's brother together. Maybe, even though they're enemies. I think they're fighting for the same position. I don't know. There's something there. Those are the couple thoughts I have. I don't know. We'll see. You can definitely tell Julia and Ryan, they're very like, the feud is very kind of stupid to them. Like, just the way that they finally see each other again after the first scene they met and saw each other. They saw each other again and actually put two and two together that they were who they thought they were. I'm trying to speak. Jeez. But they were like joking about like their dads having something in common. Like you can tell they're like, this feud is really dumb. But like without saying that, they can tell. Like, and you can kind of tell when you see the scene where they just start joking about it. They're like, oh, our dads both like extra mashed potatoes from this specific place they order food from. And they joke about it. Like, just stuff like that. They're like, really, this feud has gone on for way too long kind of thing. Okay, now that they're showing more, like, sequences between Ryan and Julia and then the dads, I'm noticing the dads, they have their feud, but it seems like they can be civil when they're, like, around each other. They can, like, joke around with each other. It's very parallel to Ryan and Julia. Like, they're not the typical, like, Hallmark couple that I, like, expected with, like, how they talk to each other. It's very, like, quick-witted and, like, snarky and, like, sassy a little bit. They're not, like, the typical, like, you find out one thing about one person and then they connect to that and then say they're part of the story kind of thing. Like, they're very, like, I don't know, just something about, like, they're very sarcastic, but, like, in, like, a sweet way. And I like it a lot. I don't really see many of, like, these types of characters in Hallmark movies. They're not typically as, like, sassy and, like, quick-witted and, like, snarky as they normally are. Like, I like this new dynamic of characters versus the typical, like, meet cute and then you learn about one character's backstory with, like, maybe losing a parent and the other character says, I'm sorry, and they connect over that and then say something else, and, you know. And they're more like how they typically are, is they give a compliment and flirt, and then there's, like, an awkward moment where they, like, want to kiss each other, that kind of thing. There's not really that with this couple. You can tell it's there, but it's very, very, very subtle. And they're just, like, being kind of smartasses to each other in, like, a cute way, which I like a lot. So now we know the whole plan to keep their ends from being sold. The kids are going to start trying to make their dads work together in secret without them knowing to keep, I think Edgewater was the name of the resort company, from buying their ends and making their own resorts. So that's the whole plan. They're going to get their dads to work together and I guess figure something out together to save both of their ends from being sold at some point. So let's see how this plan goes, because I honestly don't know what's going to happen. So a huge issue just popped up. The literally brain. The literal center of town where there's a pub. They just did the Christmas trivia and Julia's family won, the Crowleys. Literally after they won, the owner of the pub says he's retiring and moving to Florida to be close to his daughter and grandkids. He says he sold to that resort company that they said they were never going to sell to. And the pub is literally the center of their town, like smack dab right in the middle. The best spot you could put anything. And they're both very worried. I would be worried too, because that's very stressful. It's crazy. Just from seeing the ends at the beginning, I chose that I would stay at the Crawleys But now seeing the inside of the Mason's Inn, it feels more like cozy and homey. So I'm like, if the outside of the Crawleys just had the inside of the Masons, it would be like perfect. If that makes sense. Like that's where I'm like falling. At this point, I'm like, just an inn that's right in the middle. It looks modern on the outside. It has like, I guess all the modern amenities, but then feels cozy right when you walk in the door. Like you want to just walk through the door and just a cup of hot chocolate just magically appear in your hand. Like that's how I want to feel. You know what I mean? Okay, I just finished the movie. Obviously, they figure out a plan to merge their ends to buy out, because they can't buy the pub that was bought out by the resort separately, so they merge together their finances and buy out the pub and merge to make a fancy hotel that is similar to the resort, to where they can use that if people want like an more upscale version of like to stay during the holidays or throughout the whole year or whatever. Or if they want something that's more homey and like traditional like vibes, then they can stay at one of the original inns if they choose to. So like it expands it without having to kind of ruin the old inns, but they make something new but has the old feel, I guess, which is very smart and I like the idea. Let's see, what else did I think of? And they were joking about what to call it, whether putting Mason or Crawley first in the name. I think they jokingly said they're calling it the Crest Ridge Hotel because that's the town they're in anyways. Might as well do that. I think with how this one ends, it deserves a sequel because I would love to actually see the hotel in action. As far as story for a sequel, I don't know where that would go, but either they could have made a sequel or done like a little like 5-minute clip at the end where they jump ahead like a year or so, maybe a few years in the future, to like show us the hotel and like how it's going and give us a little snippet like if they're either still together or married by this point, Julia and Ryan, and then like how the friendship between the dads is going, that kind of thing. Just give us a little bit more. That's the only thing about Hallmark movies that I hate, where they end it with like something cool happening, but then they don't show us like a little bit of a time jump forward to show like what it looks like. Excuse me. They don't give us that little snippet and like jump ahead a little bit to show us what it ends up looking like, kind of thing. There are a few movies and stuff where they've done that. They just don't do it enough. Because I feel like that's what I wanted. They literally end the movie with having like their final kissing scene in front of the pub that they're owning together. The main couple, Ryan and Julia. I'm like, they could have transitioned to like, while they're kissing, it could have jumped ahead and transitioned to them kissing like a year later, with like in front of the hotel, setting up for like the tree lighting competition or something at the hotel. Something to like transition a little forward ahead. And then we could have seen what the hotel looked like, what they ended up naming it. Something would have been great. But if I had to rate this movie, it was very, very good. I liked the dynamic between Julia and Ryan. It was different from typical Hallmark movies, which I love. They weren't just like cutesy the whole time, which I liked, so it was a little different. I laughed more than I typically do watching Hallmark movies. I'll laugh, of course. There's comedic moments, but like I laughed more just by the way they were interacting with each other, which was fun. I liked the sibling dynamic on both ends. How Julia has a sister, so it was sisters in the Crawley family, and it was brothers in the Mason family with Ryan and his brother. So it was like the parallels of sisters and brothers kind of thing. So you saw that dynamic too. And then learning about the origin story, whether whose story was right and wrong, that kind of thing. If I had to rate this though, I'm trying to think of like a scale of where I could rate like the Hallmark movies or just the stuff I react to in general. I'm like, I think I'm gonna do it out of 10. I think that's where I'm gonna scale it, like a 0 to 10, because there could be some bad movies out there. I'm trying to think. Let's go. I was sitting here thinking about it. Sorry if you heard a door being slammed. Someone was leaving the house. I'm gonna do it out of hot chocolates, since that's like what I typically would drink while watching these kinds of movies and series and stuff. I'm gonna rank it out of 0 to 10 hot chocolates. I'm gonna say, ooh, I like the opening, getting to know Julia, and how they introduced Ryan was very subtle. I do wish they showed his story a little earlier, because it took a while to get there, honestly. They introduced him as like being the guy that gave her laptop back when she left it on the train, and then they just said who he was, and her sister was like, you were really talking to Ryan Mason, and they kind of ignored it for a little bit, and then you just saw them show that family. I don't know, I just feel like they could have gotten to him a little earlier somehow, maybe, I don't know, or said a little more about him, or something, to like bring him in a little earlier, because I was like, okay, he's gonna be the main guy we're following, of course. But like, I don't know, they could have done something a little earlier, maybe, or she could have actually recognized him instead of not knowing who he was. I don't know, something different. Because we saw her family for like maybe the first 10 minutes, and then it transitioned to his side. I was like, okay, now we're getting his side. I wish we wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe gotten it a little earlier. Stuff like that knocks it a little bit in like points for me. I'm trying to think of what else. I do think I will knock it down a few pegs, because we didn't really learn what the actual feud started from. Because there's the whole one person bought the land for the original inn first, and someone like cheated or something. It was like a weird thing, like someone bid on it first and bought it first. It was a whole thing. And they never really said whose story was really correct. Which I guess in the end you don't really need to care. It was a feud that lasted like 3 generations. But still, it would have been nice to know, maybe, whose story was actually true or not. Or if there was a completely different story that was actually the truth that neither of the dads knew about. So I feel like that would be maybe knock it down a little bit in points. And then the ending where I didn't get a little bit of a time jump to like see what the hotel would have looked like. That would have been nice, so it knocks it down a little bit, like 0.5, you know, kind of thing. Let's see what else I can think of. I like the characters. The dynamics between, like, specific couples or, like, friends was very fun. And I like that they had the whole thing of her being a lawyer, wanting to get this specific position, getting in and turning it down like they always do. She ends up staying there and all that, which, of course, that's always what happens. I feel like I want to give this a 8.5 hot chocolates out of 10. That's what I'm going to give this. Hold on, let me write it down. That's my rating for Check In to Christmas. It's spelled I-N-N, because obviously they were talking about N's the whole time. Yeah, that's my rating. 8.5 hot chocolates out of 10. I feel like I would love to just drink hot chocolate watching all movies and TV shows, but I can't drink it all year round. Sadly. But yeah, that's my rating. You know, definitely should go check this movie out. It's on Hallmark Plus. That's what I use. I feel like that's the only streaming service that I personally actually pay for and use for myself to watch. Everything else I use Friends stuff and all that, but whatever. It's like the only one I use, because they have stuff that's all year round. Like they have series, TV shows, whether it could be autumn, Christmas, Halloween, any time of year you could probably find something on here. And they're starting to dip into like food competition shows, reality shows, that kind of thing. They're starting to dip into those a little bit, and I like it, kind of. There's some shows that I like more than others, but yeah, definitely go check this out on Hallmark Plus whenever you have the chance. It's definitely a good like setup movie to watch for like the holidays, I think. But yeah, if y'all have seen this movie, let me know. And if you have any other recommendations of Hallmark Plus movies to watch that you can think of, or even a series or something, let me know. And I'll check it out. Or I'll tell you if I have seen it or not, because I've seen a lot. Yeah, let me know, and see you next time. Bye.